So cut to the Chase Sports Podcast. We're talking, Ohio State receivers, the top 5 receivers under the Ryan Day era, major position battles, and a couple other things, man. Here we go.
ATL Jacob.
I'm your host, Chase Johnson. I'm joined by the guys, man, the Fantastic Four. We got Brady King, Matt Ricketts, Kris Drew. How y'all doing, man?
Phenomenal.
I'm doing phenomenal as well.
You stole my word. That's plagiarism.
I'm doing exquisite. I'll take it.
Okay. That's a good word. Think of a word, Matt. How you feeling?
Ecstatic.
Nice. P. Okay, P. Literally right there. Okay.
We're gonna be ecstatic when you come to basketball next week.
Yeah, exactly. Get out there and run, man, with us. Come on. Got to get our shot, man. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I mean, Fantastic Four back at it, man. Before we get right into things, make sure you drop a like on the video, subscribe. We are on that 200 subscriber grind. Subscribe to the page. It just notifies you when we release a new show. And we've had some good interviews in the past. I'd encourage you guys to go give those a watch. And without further ado, let's get into today. Talk about major position battles. Brady, you want to take this away, and you guys can kind of talk about what's going on through spring camp?
Oh, yeah, for sure. So, obviously, yesterday we talked a good bit about spring scrimmage that happened on Saturday and, just a lot of things with, how different guys looked, what I've heard. But, I just wanted to take this time to get Chris's insight on what he maybe heard and his thoughts on some of the position battles and where things stand in terms of who's leading those battles. So I'll just kind of give this to Kris. You can start at quarterback if you'd like, but let's hear offensive side of the ball. What did you hear about Saturday offensively?
On offense, I heard that Devin Brown and Kyle McCord were pretty even for the most part until late in the scrimmage, like late in the scrimmage period. I heard that Kyle McCord was able to make more throws than Devin Brown and lead to more scoring drives than Devin Brown, and that's kind of the big thing. Like, people always talk about quarterback competitions, but when they really what it boils down to is which one leads to more scoring drives when they're both with the ones against the ones, and that on Saturday that was Kyle McCord. He just looks and feels the part. Like everyone I've talked to, and every time I've kind of heard him speak, it feels like he knows it's his turn. Like he's going through it, and this is like a fake quarterback battle, similarly to when we had C.J. Stroud versus Jack Miller. Not saying that Devin Brown is a Jack Miller in this because they are kind of in separate classes, but I'm hearing that it's Kyle McCord. And the other big part of it is kind of like the chemistry between Kyle and Marvin. At first, I thought it was a little bit overstated amongst fans, like what we'd been like, like high school teammates, woo, like that was going to mean a lot. But I guess on the field, it has meant a lot. Like almost in every scramble drill, every pull drill, all that, Kyle McCord has been a plus. And then also down in the red zone, which is an area of concern for Kyle, because a lot of times in the red zone, the feet are a big thing. But I guess down in the red zone, a couple, not once, but a couple times, he was able to pull in his own read and get us in for about 6 out going up against the defense. So I think it's Kyle McCord. I know people it's Ryan Day's job to make it seem like it's close. And maybe Devin Brown pushes late, but right now, the guy that's in command, that's been there before. I mean, this is his third spring, that feels the part that, people said was pushing CJ Stroud way back when. This is a guy. So on offense right now, at least quarterback wise, I've got Kyle McCord as starting quarterback for Ohio State.
Yeah, I have to definitely agree with that based off of everything, and especially with that extra year. I think that helps a lot. Especially another reason was because, he started a game already, and that was back when people were actually calling for C.J. Stroud's job, if you guys remember that.
Yeah, that was a weird time.
It was a weird time because, he went had that bad game against Tulsa. That's kind of what everyone – Oregon game kind of set it off, even though he threw for about 500 yards. Yeah. But the Tulsa game, he played a bad game, and everyone wanted his job taken. And then Kyle came in, looked a little shaky. He threw a lot of screens.
He looked like a freshman.
Yeah, he looked like a freshman. He looked jittery, which is going to happen when you're a freshman. But he started to make some throws, and I actually got a picture with him before that game. He looked nervous. But
I would flash it on the screen, man, but you
I
know,
don't have it.
yeah.
You just want to drop that in there. He said, "Yeah, let me."
Yeah, slight little flex for him.
Yeah, you know, I am like that. I do know Ohio State's second quarterback.
You're like that,
but anyway,
he says,
he's like
slight. I'm really him. My shoelaces say shoelaces. Like,
oh man, but I just think that's his job as well. And then moving on to a different position, wide receiver wise. So obviously this has been a debated topic. Will Julian Fleming be the third starting receiver, or will a guy such as Jaden Ballard take that spot from him? And what have you been hearing about Jaden Ballard and the younger receivers throughout spring so far?
It's been really interesting because obviously Fleming's out for the spring. And I know the more that Fleming hears like kind of the practice reports and sees practice footage of Jaden Ballard getting absolutely loose, has to kind of, I mean, it should, if he's a competitor, worry him a little bit.
Yeah.
One of the things that has kind of been talked about since Kyle McCord got there is more than C.J. Stroud, he is going to cut it loose deep more.
Yeah.
C.J. Stroud kind of preferred to live in that 10 to 15 to 10 to 20 yard range, which is why we didn't see a whole ton of deep balls from him unless they were like deep outside to Marv. But really like the fact that like Kyle McCord is fearless back there and has a little bit of extra to him and thinks he can make every throw. And so he'll be pushing the ball down the field and they've messed around with having Ballard in the slot sometimes, just let him go right against the safety, similar to what we saw in the Georgia game. And then outside, I mean, I know he's been getting the better part of Jordan Hancock as well, just with the pure speed. So he's been getting loose, getting active. And again, I think I said it with you guys a couple weeks ago last time I was on. The roommates of Kyle McCord are Ballard, Emeka, and Marv. And those are the guys that like work out all the time together and throw it all the time together. And so it's like that little bit of buddy ball. There's also a buddy ball when your friend runs a 10 400-meter dash.
It matters a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. So, no, I think honestly, like for me, to be a receiver at Ohio State, you have to have an exceptional trait. And I like Fleming, but I don't think he has any exceptional traits. Like he's not our biggest receiver. I mean, Marv's bigger than him. He's actually the same size as Emeka. He's not our fastest receiver. I mean, Ballard's faster, obviously. He doesn't have the best ball skills. I mean, kind of Corey Dennis went on record saying that like the second best ball skills on the team behind Marvin are probably Ballard. And usually you don't see, like usually when a speedster can't get on the field, it's like, oh, like he must not have hands, must have drops issues. Like if none of those are issues, I just can't justify sitting tall Jalen Hyatt on the bench for the entire year. So I think that he's wide receiver 3 at least at this point. And it's a spring, and here's what's going to happen. During the spring game, he's going to go ballistic. Like there's really no way around it. Fast guys go ballistic in spring because that's the time where it's like separation means the most. So if he goes ballistic in spring, good luck, Julian Fleming, getting your spot back. Because the fan base does not sit here calmly. Yeah, we know how crazy the Ohio State fan base is. Like, if the Ohio State fan base gets to watch Jaden Ballard go absolutely berserk in the spring game, and then we get to the season and we don't see Ballard for 3 weeks, oh my God.
Yeah,
dude, they'll lose their mind.
We're gonna be calling for Fleming's head.
I think Ballard. Yeah, I think Ballard's too good to keep off the field. But what do I know? I'm just Kris Drew from Akron.
Bro, Akron's top 5, man. Shit, you know what I'm saying?
I feel like I'll lose my mind if he doesn't play a lot. At least, like if he doesn't start, as long as he plays a lot, I guess I'll be okay. But if I don't see him on the field, if it's the same 3 guys the whole time with this depth, I don't think I'll be able to handle it, because I also think that guys like Caleb Brown could be effective. He has a different sort of like, he's a quick little slot guy. Like we don't have that other than him.
He reminds me of Jalen Marshall. I don't know if you remember Jay Marsh from
absolutely.
That kind of like that running back build, little wider shoulders. Not a great route runner, but with the ball in his hand, he feels like a running back. Like we can rotate 3 or 4 and to have a home run hitter, because like what I worry about with Ohio State is I think Ryan Day almost invites too many 10-play drives because we don't have any home run hitters.
Yeah.
And when you invite 10-play drives, it's just like something that's 10 chances for something to go wrong.
Yeah.
Right.
Like in past years, if you can, chunk play, and then house something, it's like, okay, look, like we're able to get that done quickly. And I think Ballard and Brown honestly kind of offer that for Ohio State.
Yeah, I think you want to have multiple dimensions to the offense. You want to be able to do a 10-play drive. You want to be able to be like, okay, we can work 10, 12. We can run the football. We can hit short, intermediate passes and all that stuff. But when you need it most and you need a home run play and you need this or that, like you got to be able to have it. You got to be able to go 3 plays, 75 yards and really cut the game inside of a minute or two.
Or just like a threat of going like 3 plays.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like a threat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You could beat the defense on their toes, And I want to ask something, kind of regarding Kyle McCord. Does he have the easiest job in the country for any quarterback in the in NCAA?
Yeah, absolutely.
I would.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Who's second and third? Who do you think?
Probably whoever wins the Bama job because they're going to have a really good offensive line this year. I don't know if anyone's really close, actually.
Yeah.
Like Quinn Ewers, they're going to have a really good. They are going to have a really good wide receiver core over there in Texas.
Yeah.
They're just deep. They added A.D. Mitchell. They have Xavier Worthy. Those are 2 guys that are top 5 receivers, in my opinion, or top 5 talents. But they're losing Bijan and some offensive line pieces. So that. No, Kyle McCord's going to have the easiest job in America. Maybe here we go. Pause. JJ McCarthy has the easiest job in America.
That's
because Jay doesn't have to do anything.
He doesn't have to do shit ever. He just game managed all the way.
Yeah.
Kyle McCord's gonna have maybe a more fun job.
Yeah, I would say. Yeah,
he probably has the most fun job. If that's
very fun to throw the ball down the field to Marvin Harrison Jr. and up to Marvin. But
he's going to be asked to do more and make more throws.
Yeah.
JJ's going to be asked to complete 50% of his passes, throw for 2,500 yards and 20 touchdowns. That's all he's going to be asked to do, and he's got the best O-line and decent receivers and the best backfield. So he's got the easiest job. Marv's got the Ferrari though. He's the one jumping in the Ferrari that is tuned up all the way. All he's got to do is hit gas and not crash into the Civic in front of him. So
Now, does he have the most pressure on him as a quarterback? Having all of those weapons around him, does he have the most pressure? And if not, who has the most pressure in the country at quarterback?
Pressure's a privilege. But Caleb Williams has the most pressure on him as a quarterback.
Yep.
Caleb Williams has to get USC to the playoffs, no matter what.
Oh, yeah.
He has to. They have to win the Pac-12. He's got Lincoln Riley. This is now going into his 3rd year with Lincoln Riley as a starter. So we know what we've got. And it feels like once or twice a year, he just doesn't give you that little bit extra. That's the LA market. And he's got the most pressure in America currently.
Yeah.
Kyle McCord has pressure, but also if Kyle McCord fails, he'll get a pass because it's maybe he just wasn't that good.
Yep.
For Caleb, it's you have to be that good. And now you're losing your wide receiver 1.
Yeah.
And now, and additionally, I know Ohio State's defense has been a problem, but Alex Grinch is the worst big-time DC I've seen in all of the
He's so bad. Oh, my God. He might be – I don't get it. I just don't get how they can retain him. I don't get why he ever hired Alex Grinch in the first place.
No, I don't – you had every chance to cut bait with him. You left Oklahoma. He was last there. Don't take him with you. And so – and that falls again on Caleb Williams because – the defense over there at USC is not going to hold up their end of the bargain. He's going to have to do that much more.
Bryson Shaw is one of their main playmakers, and he
won Player of the Month over there.
Know.
That's
exactly.
Hey, just giving that award to anybody.
Ask Chase my thoughts on Bryson Shaw and what I was saying during the Maryland game because we went to the Maryland game in 2021.
He would not shut the fuck up about Bryson Shaw doing the stands. Oh my goodness, man! It was nothing good, obviously, but he would stop talking about it. Hey, before we move on to this receiver debate, Matt, you got anything?
I do have something.
Okay,
Actually, one thing I wanted to touch on.
Yeah,
we got kind of the abundance of riches in the backfield on offense, running the ball. Obviously, Trey's out for the spring. We know Trey and Mayan are going to be 1 and 2, but we've got 3 or 4 other dudes. What have you heard as number 3? Take and that running back room, and then also, do you see anybody bouncing from that room after spring just because they realize there's not going to be enough carries to go around, especially with all the receiving, all the passing we're going to be doing this year?
Well, Dallin has made the big leap after his freshman year. I don't know if you saw the pictures of him.
Yes.
A pro demeanor. They said he's up at least 13, 14 pounds right now from where he started last season at. He looks the part, and that's kind of the one thing that for him, at least the one complaint with him is size and then holding up in pass protection. Now he did a good job at pass pro, but a couple times he got blown up because he was a freshman, he shouldn't have been playing. I think he's running back 3, but the boogeyman is Evan Pryor. He hasn't been out there. He's hasn't done anything yet. I do know that Mayan Williams is back doing some drills now, and that to me. So here we go. So I'm a conspiracy theorist. So Mayan was basically given the spring off to get healthy, spring off, get healthy. Like obviously we don't want you getting dinged up, and Chip and Down were both balling early spring. All of a sudden, boom, Mayan's there. Yeah. So when that happens, it's like they might feel what's going on. I think Down is the best natural runner of the group, which I think I might get some flack for, but he feels like the best natural runner. He's the most polished, which is weird because he hasn't been the longest. But remember, his dad was an NFL back, and so he comes in with that same polish that Marvin Harrison Jr. had as a receiver. But I've heard that right now Down is 3, Chip is 4, but those kind of go back and forth each day. They do like kind of the comfort they get with Chip. They know exactly who Chip is at this point. And they're still watching Down kind of figure it out and grow as kind of we get things going. But the boogeyman's Evan Pryor, because if he's healthy, there's a lot in that room that you can get rid of. If he's healthy, I'm saying if he's healthy, the explosion that we talk about with Trey, you don't need anymore. We'll deal with
legitimately 6 deep with Xavier Johnson if we need him. He's proven he could play at times. Legitimately 6 deep. The thing with Xavier is though, X is big X. Dude, I love Xavier Johnson, bro. He's our Swiss Army knife. So he could play literally everywhere. So we don't have to worry about him playing in the backfield to be able to stay and contribute, just because he's so good on special teams and playing in the slot, things like that. So whatever, be our kick returner, be our punt returner, something. I mean, shit, better than dudes back there. But I'm just curious, is just which one, if anybody bounces, who do you think it would be? Pryor?
I think Down makes the most sense to bounce.
Okay. Where do they go? Where does he go if he leaves?
Tennessee. Yep. I think they lost to Tennessee because I know they ran the ball decent last year, especially against Bama. Did they lose those running backs? I can't quite remember if they lost.
They were no good. Those backs sucked.
Yeah, they weren't even
RPO backs.
It was really the offensive line. Their offensive line was good last year.
Yeah, and I think his dad played for the Titans. They got ties down there. They were trying to tamper behind the scenes to go get him.
Oh, really? Yeah, this offseason, right?
Yeah, I don't think anybody leaves though. If unless I'm naive.
I hope not.
I don't think anybody's going anywhere.
It's just I guess running backs it's just so tough to.
Yeah, I know USC wanted
Trey. Receiver, you get to play
USC
2 or 3, sometimes 4 at a
Mm-hmm.
time. At running back, you can only play one. I mean, unless you have different packages, it's only one at a time. So it's
we had 4 running backs all notch 100-yard games last year.
I know that's what I'm saying.
That's really impressive.
Yep.
That's crazy.
It's insane, man. It's insane. Moving gears, talking from running backs, we're going to move back to receivers, but not these receivers necessarily. Well, maybe one of them. We know who would probably end up on this list, but let's debate. Yeah, let's debate the top 5 wide receivers since 2019 under Ryan Day, Brian Hartline, all those guys. I'm gonna go around the horn with everybody. All right. I would start with Chris, but I want to get Brady. We're gonna go around like that. All right, Brady. Who are your top 5 receivers? And I want to hear, how everybody matches up with each other.
All right, so I went with a 3-person debate for number 1, and I'm not going to say who those three were yet. But it ultimately came down to Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be my number 1 guy. I just think, low key, if he was eligible this year, do the Bears even trade the number 1 pick? Do they take Marvin Harrison Jr. number 1? That's how good that guy. That's how good he is at playing wide receiver.
It's a freak
and that is how nuts he is. And I don't think I've ever seen a guy that's that physically gifted, but also has the work ethic he has, the talent, all the intangibles, and puts up the numbers he has. So that's why he's 1. 2, I went with Jackson Smith and Jigba. So I personally think even now, it's ridiculous to me that anyone debates who the number 1 wide receiver is in this draft. I think the combination of quickness, route running, he's a big dude. Like when he runs after catch, he's hard to bring down. Like that Utah game, there's times where like he's carrying defenders with him. He's falling forward. So like it's not like he's just some slow receiver because he ended up 4.48 40. He can move. Like he scored multiple 70-yard touchdowns in 2021. And he's just a beast. Production just speaks for itself. Number 3, Garrett Wilson, another guy, the third guy I debated for that first spot. What a freak. I mean, one of the greatest catch, or I guess I was going to say one of the greatest catches, but like 5 of the greatest catches in Ohio State history. He probably made throughout his career. And he's just an absolute freak. Offensive Rookie of the Year. It's really hard putting him in at 3. Like these 3 guys are so close, but I ultimately went with him at the 3rd spot. Number 4, Chris Olave. Again, he was even probably considered a little bit up there. I mean, my God, this dude's smooth, fast, great hands. The only thing he's not elite at is probably after the catch, but that's just because he's like somewhat skinny, I would say. But it doesn't necessarily matter. Oh, my fault. It doesn't necessarily matter, though, when he can just dust people and, score 50-yard touchdowns against Jalen Ramsey and just completely dust everybody. Nobody can keep up with him going deep. That's why there's so much – you need safety help over the top with him. And then number 5, this one was kind of easy as well. Emeka Egbuka probably gets this 5th spot based off of since Ryan Day started being a head coach. Now, if I could take when he started being the quarterback coach and like assistant OC, then Terry McLaurin and Paris Campbell have debates for that spot. But Terry, I love Terry. But oh man, Emeka, best wide receiver 2 in college football, maybe wide receiver 2 in college football.
Yeah, probably by a wide margin.
Yeah, exactly. So he's just here. He's there by default.
Yep, his list is Marvin, JSN, Garrett, Olave, Emeka. Matt, what are your 5?
Marvin Harrison Jr., number 1. I don't think it's particularly close, to be honest with you. I think he's just incredible. Just a freak. Number 2, Garrett Wilson, who before Marvin was who I thought was the most talented receiver in Ohio State history. Would be Garrett Wilson. Number 3, Jackson Smith-Njigba. Okay, great player. Obviously, I'm with Brady on it's pretty crazy that people were trying to come up with arguments to say that he's not the best receiver coming out this year. It's kind of wild. Number 4, Chris Olave. Touchdown leader. Just fair. He's probably the most beloved by fans out of all the ones I just said. He's just a Buckeye, 4-year dude. Just very beloved by Ohio State fans. So 5 got tricky for me. Okay, I would say the most – if you go from 2019 when he became the head coach, Ryan Day.
I know who you're about to choose, dude. I know it. I just know who you're choosing.
There's a certain dude that holds a very significant record for Ohio State that nobody talks about.
I knew it.
KJ Hill is the all-time leader in receptions in Ohio State history, KJ Hill. So I'm going to put one of my favorite players. I have his jersey. I'm going to put KJ Hill at number 5. I mean, to be the all-time leader in receptions in Ohio State history, most of them came when Ryan Day was on staff, so 17, 18, 19. Okay, most of them came in that time period. So I am going to go with KJ Hill at number 5.
All right. Fair. One more thing. Tank Dell's the best receiver in the draft. Just kidding.
Oh, Jesus!
I'm just kidding. That's some bullshit. All right. I'll ask Matt a question in a second. Chris, give me your top 5.
I'm Garrett 1.
That's a good one, man. I mean, it's hard. Really
I have Garrett 1 because he does everything Marvin Harrison Jr. does at the same clip, except for he creates more separation. Also, I give him credit for being a better athlete in space. He's been our best punt returner also since the Ryan Day era started. I have him 1 because in the red zone jump ball, he's the same as Marv. He'll go get it, go snatch me one. I mean, that catch against Clemson is a prime example.
Right.
We've seen him breaking through as a freshman. He can play all 3 receiver positions. When he came to Ohio State, his first year starting, he played in the slot, dominated in the slot, moved outside, dominated outside. And my one knock against Marvin is that he doesn't really create much separation, which is why he's not great after the catch. If you look at yards after the catch, among everybody in the top 5, like he's probably the bottom of the list in terms of like yards after catch. So I had Garrett 1, and I don't want to tear on Marv at all. I think Marv's an absolute freak show and has the most upside. But right now, like Garrett Wilson got to the NFL and made things look easy, like to generate separation, like easily.
It's gonna get easier too if Aaron Rodgers gets there.
He made things look easy. He went over 1,000 yards with the MILF Hunter as his quarterback. So
and a couple other guys.
I like the MILF Hunter. That's a good. That's a good.
Yeah. So I got Garrett 1. I got Marv 2. Marv being 6'3", 6'4", moving the way he does, being that kind of route runner at that size is really incredible. He's not quite the route runner Garrett Wilson is, but he's also like 4 inches taller. Yeah. And that makes it a little bit tougher, but he's got the long torso. Yeah, he's built for it, and he's not as good of a blocker as Garrett either. Just want to float that out there.
For sure. Yeah.
But he definitely could be there after this year. Number 3, I have Chris Olave ahead of JSN, and here's why. He's the all-time leader in touchdowns. He gave me multiple years of success.
Yep.
And he gave me big plays in big games, like playoff games, like against Michigan. Like just Garrett Wilson has huge catches in every game, no matter how you slice it.
Yeah, he does.
Like the 2 touchdowns against Michigan, like as a true freshman, were unbelievable. Like the redemption game against Clemson after he had the blunder that led to the pick, kind of going crazy. That game is huge. The punt block going against Michigan too, team's impact, and the fact that he's the all-time leader in touchdowns for multiple years. So I give him that 3 spot. And because like he's always open. Like if I'm even, I'm leaving. Yeah. Like that. Like he is the prime example of I'm even, I'm leaving. Like he's that good and that twitched up and can really eat up ground with the best of them. I got JSN at 4. He's also my biggest what if, because JSN was the one that I thought could have broken every, not just Ohio State record, but like NCAA record for Power 5 in terms of like receiving yards and the stuff they were going to do with him. But just 1 year of success is tough for me because we saw 1 year of JSN when he didn't see any double teams like the entire year. Like the stuff that the others had to face, like Garrett Wilson had to face double teams, Chris Olave had to face double teams. Marv gets bracketed just about every time you snap the football. So that's why I have him at 4. But I also like no knock on him. I love JSN and think he's an absolute player. But it's just like everybody else on that list is going to have multiple years of production for Ohio State. Yep. He's really just going to have the one.
Yeah, that's right.
And then number 5, I got Emeka. I love KJ Hill, but Emeka's bigger, faster.
I mean, there's no question he's more talented.
Yeah, but I'll give you KJ Hill sticking around to be there for the Dwayne Haskins years and then be there for the Justin Fields years and like be a rock is awesome. I just don't give him as much credit because I think that part of his like the getting all the receptions was because there wasn't a Chris Olave and Marvin Harrison Jr. But he did revolutionize that slot position for us. Like he was kind of the blueprint for Garrett Wilson. So that's what people don't realize. I love KJ Hill, but I got Emeka at 5 and then KJ at 6 right after him. So that's my grouping. And then honorable mention Jameson Williams.
I was about to say that too.
Honorable mention JMO. So that's my top 5. But until Marv shows me some after the catch, I got G-Dub at 1.
And also, the other thing with KJ is his reception record probably would not have withstood if JSN didn't get injured this season because all he needed was like
it would have been really close. He needed about like I think 104 or something crazy. I can't remember what it was.
Oh man, Brady man, he would have had to have an absurd year to get one.
No, I thought it was like 90. I thought it was like one more reception than he had last year.
Okay,
like it was a lot.
Maybe 104 is too much, but KJ had like 96 in 1 year. Something nuts, something
nuts.
Fucking crazy.
KJ was so reliable. That's why
that's what I will say about KJ. In his defense, like he did not drop fucking nothing. No. He was as surefire as you could get. He wasn't a big play down the field dude or anything like that. But underneath, bro, he could run routes with the best of them, get open, and he caught everything. He was a sponge, bro. Bro, sticky, bro. He was a sponge. So
also like people don't realize KJ Hill, like in the really big moments, like that's who coaches wanted to go to. Like Penn State, like he went over there and he was like, "Hey, like I'm seeing this. Terry's got this guy on his ass. Like, give me the rock late in the game." And to be able to throw a bubble screen to a guy who's a true slot receiver and have him house it from 15 yards out was big. Like I love KJ, and honestly, like I'm surprised he did. I thought he was gonna have like a 10-year NFL career playing for the Patriots or something. Bro.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite players.
JSN would have only. I just had to check it just but just to see if Matt was right. He was wrong. JSN only needed.
He loved proving Matt wrong.
He only needed 92 catches, which is less than last year.
It's a lot of catches, bro.
That's 7 catches a game. 7 catches a game right there. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Because last year he had 95 catches. So
how many did he have against Utah? How many did he have against Utah?
Probably 14.
Okay, that's what
14.
One
of the two.
It would have been close. It would have been close with the full season.
He would have gotten it. He would have gotten it because he would have if Jason played this year. If Jason played this year, you would have got 2 extra games. You would have beat Michigan.
Yeah.
You would have got the Big Ten title game, and then you would have beat Georgia.
Oh,
and then you
would have
got the championship game.
Well, yeah,
so
it's 15.
Even if he got 13, I bet he would have got it too.
It's 7 a game, but
man. Not to take away from KJ.
Yeah, I'm looking at the list,
I knew it was close to that. Like I thought it was more than.
Now Brady hates KJ. Brady has a hate KJ page on Twitter.
I have Matt's jersey in my house right now. He doesn't know, and I'm about to burn it.
Golly. I hate you right there, man.
What were you going to ask me, Chase?
I wasn't going to ask anything. I'm looking at the list, actually.
I thought you said you were going to ask me something.
I probably was, but it probably slipped my mind, man. There was a lot of talk right there. So I'm looking at the list. There's you guys don't agree on the same receiver at the same spot. It's actually really interesting. So looking through, Brady and Matt both have Marv at 1. You guys all have different 2s. Different 3s. Brady and Matt agree with Olave at 4, and then Brady and Kris agree with Emeka at 5. I really enjoyed looking at these lists just to see the different perspectives that you have as these receivers, kind of how you grade them, kind of how you just how you guys view them. When it comes to that's why I like the list. And I like having people bring their list to the show. I would share a list. It's probably within most of these 5, but I'm an NFL guy. All right. I'm playing host right now, man. That's not my forte, even though these guys are all going to the NFL and are in the NFL. So, that's just not my cup of tea right there, but I love seeing these Ohio State receivers and how they're, able to keep producing at a very, very high level. And, give props to Brian Hartline, man. I mean, he's the best, you know what I'm saying? Like, best receiver coach in the country. Now he's going to be offensive coordinator. Kris, how do you think he's going to do at this role? I mean, that might be a dumb question, but man, what are you excited for with Brian Hartline as OC?
Oh, it's going to be so easy for him. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
No. It's funny because here you go. So in the ethos of OCs, usually the very best OCs build a catalog, running and passing catalog over a decade, better part of a decade.
Yeah.
While Ryan Day was getting this catalog ready, like you step into his library, it's beautiful. All the run schemes, all the throwing game, like he revolutionized mesh concepts and brought them to the NFL at a greater scope. Like that was him. He's the grandfather of that. And to be the grandfather of that and be younger. I mean, literally, like when Tom Brady started playing in the NFL, the mesh concepts weren't a thing.
Yeah.
And then Ryan Day, who's younger than Tom Brady, brought them to the table and really showed them off, kind of like levels mesh. Anyway.
Yep. Yeah, I got you.
So in the grand scheme of things, while Ryan Day is building this beautiful library or building this beautiful car, Ryan Day's partying in Miami, playing for the Dolphins, running maybe 4 or 5 routes. And now Brian Hartline's here. And instead of having to design his very own catalog, he gets gifted the golden egg. So really, like Ryan Day as a play caller, like every play in Ryan Day's playbook is really effective. All Brian Hartline has to do is decide when to call something based on what he sees.
Yep.
It's like,
for sure.
It's beautiful.
That's psychotic.
Yeah.
It's beautifully psychotic.
Yeah, it's sensational. So I think he'll do a really good job. I am curious to see, though, because there's going to be one thing. Like, obviously, like if you get somebody's playbook, like you're calling the plays from the playbook, how many bubble screens are we going to see? Or are we going to see the return of the push pass? Because
that's what I want.
It's a great question.
Well, that is what it is. Like that was the numbers game. Like Ryan Day used to love the push pass, but he kind of got away from it to go bubble screen.
Yep, please don't. I want to see that out of the system. Don't do it anymore. It sucked last year because Cade Stover and all those receivers were just not blocking it up.
No, not blocking it up. And then if you're Brian Hartline and you really like those plays, do you make an emphasis on blocking?
It's got to be one or the other. You either got to be able to run the ball consistently for 3 yards of carry, or you've got to be able to block on the edge and get that. You got to be able to do one or the other or both.
Exactly, especially if you run stretch.
Last year we couldn't just sit there and run the ball right down the middle of their throat all the time. We just couldn't, like we could in years past. Like it's got to be one or the other. So
I think we could have. I don't think we wanted to. Like
that's what I'm true too. It could be true too. We didn't try it enough, I guess.
Yeah, maybe like Kevin Wilson. Here we go. Here's something here.
Enough, but it's got to
happen. Something for Kevin Wilson. Like let's hear Kevin Wilson didn't run power when he had Adrian Peterson. Just think about that. Like
that's insane.
Like when Kevin Wilson was at Oklahoma, they ran stretch zone. They had Adrian Peterson
with AP all day is insane. They run it. Wow.
All Justin Fry wanted to do was run power, and Kevin was like, no, and that's part of why we kind of like brushed him out slowly. Like that was why, because they couldn't get on the same page. Ryan Day and Justin Fry, when they were at Boston College, all they ran was power. And I don't know if you two remember it, but Matt, do you remember Andre Williams running for 2,000 yards?
BC?
Yeah, at BC.
Yep, I remember.
The OC was Ryan Day. The O-line coach was Justin Fry, and they didn't run any stretch. It was just power. So I think that will kind of get us away from the bubble screen game. But I am curious to see if we see the return of the push pass. But I do think Brian will do a good job. I mean, Brian has done everything right. Like I'm not gonna I've yet to see Brian Hartline do one thing poorly as wide receivers coach. So I think he'll be able to call plays.
I'll say you go, Brady. All right.
Oh, I'll just go real quick. The one thing I was going to say is I like the change of scenery because Ryan Day's playbook is great. That's not what we needed to change from last year. It is when to call the plays, in my opinion, that needs to change. So I like that he's given those to Brian Hartline, who is pretty good at his job, if I do say so myself. So give him another thing, put it on his plate, see what he can do. If it doesn't work, screw it. Day can keep calling the plays. We've already seen his floor calling plays. So, I mean, he can – I love it. Test it out, see what happens.
I think it'll be a joint marriage too, because I know that Justin Fry was the OC at UCLA.
Yeah.
So I trust that those two together will be able to really get it down.
I just can't imagine that Ryan Day doesn't call the plays on Saturday.
Same, but I'm going to pretend like he's not going to call plays.
No shot.
He's too paranoid, bro. He's too paranoid.
He just called his best game of his entire life, and he's not against Georgia. Like he's just too good of a play caller. I think they just have to give Brian that title, give him a little bit more responsibility, because I do think Ryan needs to step back, especially in the off season, especially during springtime and summertime, and watch over that defense a little bit more and really try to get his hands in a little bit more on the defense.
Yeah, make sure we're not blitzing everybody on 3rd and 4 to win the game.
He needs to step back during the off season, especially, and be a little bit more of a CEO. But when it comes to buckle up and fucking go on Saturdays, I think he's just going to pick it up and say, "Listen here, give me the shit. We're rolling. I'm taking it back." You know what I mean? Like it's not like a shot at Brian. It's just like that's just how Brian can run this shit. You kind of steer the ship during the off season. And Ryan can kind of sit back, and obviously Brian's been around him long enough to know what's going on the offense. So everybody's on the same page. It's just when shit hits the fan and it's time to go, it's still my offense. You know what I mean?
And I think I do like it, like especially during the week, like having Brian and Justin do more game planning.
That's what I'm saying. Brian can step back and kind of watch over everything, but then once it's time to go, it's me. You know what I mean?
And I think that would help Ryan get out of his own head. Sometimes I feel like in games, like he wants to call the perfect play every time, like based on what he'd seen prep wise, like almost over prep, rather than like feeling the game flow. And I think if he doesn't feel the pressure of having to game plan for every single individual little thing, that it'll really loosen him up.
I agree.
For sure. Yeah. I feel like what's going to happen is as soon as, fall camp starts and the interviews, the coaches start getting interviewed again, because I don't believe in the summer there's much interviewing going on with the coaches because, they're off on vacation and all that. But what's going to happen is Coach Day is going to be like, well, we reevaluated some things, and Brian's doing a great job. So is Justin working together, working to get this offense going. But I'm still going to be very much involved there. That's what he's going to say.
That's the line. Very much involved there.
Word for word, bar for
That's his
bar.
favorite thing to say.
Yep.
Either way, I don't care. I just think he needs to, like I said, just try to take more of a CEO role during the offseason. Like it can be a grind, just sitting there and trying to come up with offensive philosophies and offensive schemes. You got to just fucking take a break sometimes, man. Like you can get lost in a wormhole pretty quick doing that shit.
You know what I'm curious about? One of the things that I don't think has gotten really a ton of attention. Who the hell is going to be in the box?
That is a really good question because
I think Brian will be in the box.
But Brian has 6 guys to coach.
I don't think he can be in the box, dude. He's got to sit there with the iPad and show them their routes and show them what they need to be looking at. I don't think it's Brian. I think it's who is it? I can't even think.
I'll say this. Due to time constraints, let's keep it like we'll talk about that on the next episode.
We'll hit it. Just think about that.
Because we have a whole offseason to talk about this stuff. You know what I'm saying? We got one more thing before we go. I don't know if you guys saw this, but you guys see Javon Bullard's NIL deal after he signed an NIL deal, and it's actually called Bullard's Buckeye Crunch. Regarding to the Marvin Harris. Yeah. That like when you're talking about out of pocket as it gets. Fuck that. What's that? Like what the hell?
We're gonna look up in 10 years, and so someone's gonna revisit the show in 10 years.
Yeah.
Once Marvin Harris. No, I'm serious. Like once Marvin Harris Jr. signs a 7-year, $185 million deal in the NFL, and Javon Bullard is a grad assistant back at Georgia.
I will say it says for a limited time at the alumni cookie dough store. Cookie dough's good, but not that. Fuck that.
Yeah, why would, bro? You have to have a whole store to sell cookie dough.
It feels very like Pat Bev doing that like motion to LeBron. It's like,
dude. Pat.
He feels so special that he hit Marvin Harrison Jr. in the head. Like he thinks he's like all tough for it.
Like, congrats, you didn't make a play on the ball. You knocked out the best player, so you guys are going to lose. Cool. Like, you want a cookie? Is that why we're doing the cookie crunch?
Yeah,
like we don't know who will get drafted. Marv will go top 5.
I hope we play them again. I need it. Like, it's so annoying having all these teams we need to get revenge on every single year. There's always some random. It's Michigan.
Hey, Brady's funny, y'all. Hey, Brady's so funny. It's so annoying. All these teams we need revenge on. Yeah, because we didn't win the chip.
Well, I oughta.
Pretty much. That's exactly. That's
like Brady. There's only one team in college football that doesn't need any revenge. It's Georgia. Everybody else.
I know. I know, but with these heartbreaking losses, like I don't really
I'm fucking with you.
I know, but like it's just different. Like with Georgia and
I don't know any team that goes through the heartbreak shit that we go through, bro. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
Crazy, bro. Man. Clemson, 2019, last year with Georgia, like it's just like unreal. It just makes you. It breaks your heart.
Makes you wonder what we did to deserve this.
Like it's good, but I will say this: it's going to make it that much sweeter when we finally win the whole fucking.
It's like my little brother, my little brother at school on Tuesday or last Tuesday punched a kid. And
how old is your little brother again?
He's 8 years old.
What the fuck? He throwing him haymakers, shit.
Yeah, he punched a kid in the shoulder, a second grader, as he's walking by, and so he got sent home. My mom wanted me to talk to him, like, hey, like figure out why he got sent home. I'm talking to him, I'm like, hey, bro, like what happened? Like, what? And he was like, man. He was like, well, before Thanksgiving break, they called me a bitch, so I had to get him back. And it's just like he just needed his revenge. Before Thanksgiving, we're in March now, brother. Like he said, I didn't know when I was going to see him again. I had to get him back for that.
Motherfucker held that, and he took it personal, man.
And that's how the Buckeyes are. Like
Keep your receipts,
Clemson
man.
beat us. We had to get them back for that.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. Like that's really the perfect, like analogy, I guess you could say.
Well, no, this happened in real life. Like my brother's in trouble at school.
Well, that's not good. That's not good.
Yeah, we'll get that resolved. Hopefully, you get that resolved. Everything's
hopefully,
cool, man. But you got a lot of time to do that. But man, as always, man, Kris, not a guest on the show, but a friend on the show. Thanks for coming.
Fantastic Four.
Yep,
Fantastic Four is back.
Yep, you got that right, man. And with that being said, drop a like, subscribe to the page. You'll see more Kris this off season, during the season, man. You'll see a lot of it, man. But yeah, with that being said, I'm Chase. That's Brady, Matt, Kris. See you guys.